Hello, everybody. Welcome into the hometown huddle here on WDBJ 7 Plus. We are excited. You can just see how excited I am to talk about Arsenal winning the English Premier League. I'm messing around. We're going to bring in our good friend here, Zach Card. Zach is an Arsenal fan, as you might be able to tell. Zach had a really good week because my Manchester City team drew on Tuesday with Bournemouth, and that allowed them to be mathematically eliminated from winning the title, which allows Arsenal to win their first title in 22 years. I'm not thrilled about it. I'm just not. But Zach, you are thrilled. So again, first title in 23 years. Arsenal is on top of the English footballing world. They also have a chance to win the Champions League, so they might be on top of the entire footballing club footballing world. But we're going to get to that in just a minute. So the floor is yours, Zach. How excited are you now that your club is the champion for the first time in 24 years?
I mean, I'm on cloud nine. Words can't describe the feeling of this. I was not even 2 years old the last time they lifted the Premier League trophy, so I have obviously no memories of that. No memories of lifting any silverware other than the FA Cup at the end of the season. The last 3 years, finishing second place. This team felt like it was on the edge of greatness for years now. I've talked about it in the past. We've had a lot of long conversations about Arteta and how there was a bit of wavering in faith with that. But I think now that he's delivered the final product, the tip of, I guess, success in sports is always winning and winning the trophies at the end of the year. So he's hit that finally. And I think that all the calls for maybe him to get fired or to move on to a different manager, I think all of those should be settled and done. Arteta is the man for at least the next couple seasons. He's proved that he's able to finish a Premier League campaign and on top. We've seen in previous seasons, they get to March, April, and May and falter, and they can't finish those close games. But this year, they've been the toughest team in the Premier League to beat, probably for a couple years now, in my opinion. They do not lose close games. You could not say the same last year, the year before that, the year before that. They would get in these one-goal games, and they'd lose most of them. This year, 13 wins in one-goal games. That's almost a third of the entire Premier League season. They've won by just one goal. I think it's a testament to the mentality, the strength of the team, the mental strength of the team, and the managerial staff. But as a fan, just over the moon and thrilled.
All right, now that you're done with that, I'm going to poke holes in it. This team won the championship, and you were talking about firing your coach like 2 weeks ago. That's number one. Number two, they're going to have to change the rules, or at least the way the rules are enforced, because of how Arsenal won this championship, specifically how they handle their corner kicks and set pieces and how they just crowd the goalkeeper and make sure the goalkeeper can't do anything. Yeah, it bothers me to watch them win. And it's not because I begrudge you, the Arsenal fan. It bothers me to watch them win because it's kind of like you don't want to see that type of football win. You know, like I get sick of the Philadelphia Eagles doing the tush push. I'm like, I'd rather see you run a play. This is, 19th century football. And when it comes to Arsenal, I'm like, I would like to see you score some goals from open play. It just doesn't happen that often. And then specifically last year, they would go and play a top six side, and they would go into a shell and pray for a 0-0 draw. And their plan was clearly, we'll take care of business in our fixtures against the lesser teams, and against the good teams, we'll just hold on for dear life. And I hated that. So I have hated watching your team. I hate watching them win. I have no problem saying this. The thing is, too, I think there's a lot of Arsenal fans that also feel that way. And I think you know that, and you've talked about it. And what you did when you were talking about, winning and how thrilled you are, I swear I've heard Arsenal fans over and over again almost have to defend, well, like we have won the most games. We do have the most points. You don't have to do that anymore. But, I mean, do you hope to see something different next year? Because Arteta won a championship. He might win a Champions League, which Arsenal has never done. And yet, I feel like 3 weeks into the season next year, he could be gone because of the way this looks on the field.
I want to first address the point on, we were talking about firing him a couple weeks ago. That is fair. We were talking about firing him a couple weeks ago because the standard of winning, I think, has reached a boiling point where if you don't get the results, you're gone. But now that he has gotten the results, he's gotten a little bit of that grace back. His leash has gotten a little bit longer because of that. The leash was right. You were holding the dog by the harness at that point. And now I think we've gotten to maybe a 3-foot, 6-foot leash with Arteta. That it's kind of a little bit longer now. We've experienced winning. It cures all, as I've said.
It does.
But you're right. It is not the most beautiful style of the beautiful game when it's on the field. I would push back to say that we foul on most corners. I think that the way that the rules are kind of thought of and what's the word I'm looking for? The way that they're
Enforced,
yeah, and read, I guess, it kind of leads to that kind of play. I do think that they need to change the language of the law for that, but under the current rules, I don't think Arsenal have done anything wrong. I think that we do kind of need to move the goalposts now. We've seen like this isn't super attractive. This isn't super sustainable on a commercial front.
Yeah.
The fans don't want to watch that kind of
Well, but it's also like
play.
the thing with the West Ham goal being ruled out, and by the way, it should have. A few weeks ago, West Ham, Arsenal, it's 1-0 Arsenal. West Ham gets a goal on a corner kick. Upon review, you can clearly see that one or more of West Ham's players were holding down the goalie David Raya's arms. That should have been called. The problem with that is Arsenal has done that. That has not been called. One of my favorite soccer podcasts is called Caught Offside. And they were saying, imagine if the Titanic was not sunk by an iceberg. Imagine if it was done by Jim. Jim went down and carved a hole in the hull, and then everybody sunk. And then guess what's happening when lifeboats are going out? Well, Jim gets a seat on the lifeboat, the person who caused the Titanic to sink. And he was like, that's what this feels like. It feels like, well, why should you guys get the benefit of the officiating when they finally do it right? You guys are the reason we need to officiate this better.
That's an interesting point with the Titanic. Before we get into more conspiracy theories on that,
Yes,
who started that?
No, it was an iceberg. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, imagine if.
Well, yeah, I know. I think, and let me try and gather my thoughts here.
I threw some wild
that was
counterfactual history at you.
Some crazy analogies.
Well, no, it's okay. I can say this while you think for a bit. Arteta played or coached for years and years and years under Pep Guardiola. Pep has a system at Man City, I'm trying to say. A lot of beautiful passing, a lot of incredible passages of play, a lot of skill. Arteta did try to play like that, and they got smoked. And his first few years were not that great. And he's decided, I can't be Pep. And also with the personnel that I have, I'm not Pep. And this team is not going to be Pep. But here's what I can do. And I can say, hey, he's found a way to succeed. The Jose Mourinho's of the world, the Sam Allardyces of the world, the Tony Pulises of the world. This is what they do. I hate it. I feel like it's something that happens only in soccer, where you can come out and play not to lose and have it be a really effective strategy. And that really bothers me about soccer. But have you gathered your thoughts?
Yeah, and to that playing not to lose point, I will say that was the mentality, and fans have been frustrated for that over the past couple seasons. I saw that go away a little bit in this past season. The emphasis on the result in soccer has a much greater implication across the entire season. Even in NFL football, you can lose a couple games and go on a nice run and still make the playoffs and have a hope to, win 2 or 3 more and make the Super Bowl. In soccer, you have to put 38 games together pretty much in a row of greatness. And if you falter at all, we've seen in the past couple seasons, Arsenal led in December and faltered in that second half. They didn't put 38 complete games together. Or, we used the analogy, put 4 quarters together in basketball and football. They didn't do that across the entire season. And so then that mentality of, well, let's just get the ones that we know we can get. And you start to kind of shell up against the big 6. And I think we saw that because he went out for those wins in those tight games against Bournemouth a couple years ago, or Palace and Forest, I believe, were also close games in the past couple years, where we went out to try and get that win, try and get those 2 more points in the win, those 3 points over the 1, and it's costed us. a draw or even costed us a loss.
True. If you put together the best season, and that is something that's unique for Americans because we don't do that here. The closest thing we had was in NASCAR, where if you won the most races or if you finished the best in the most races, well, you won the title. That's the way that English football works. And okay, congratulations, 1-0 to the Arsenal. Well, you'll be back again next year. But I do want to continue with Arsenal because this Champions League run that they're on, I feel like they can't do what they do to PSG. They're playing Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League final. It'll take place on the 30th of May, so that's not this coming Saturday. That'll be the next Saturday. I don't know where it is. Do you know where it is?
Budapest.
It's in Budapest, in Hungary. And again, Arsenal's never won this thing. So what do you think about their chances against PSG, who, oh, by the way, are the defending champions there? And they were also the runners-up in the Club World Cup. So this is a really, really good team that obviously doesn't play in England.
Yeah, I think outside of England, they're the best team in the world. I think it's top two. They're easily one or two.
Well, wait. Let me ask you that. Do you think these are the two best teams?
I do think so.
You've got the defending champ from the Champions League, who's having a great season, and then you have the champion of England, which is the best league in the world. And Arsenal had to. No. That's right. PSG beat Barcelona, but PSG had to beat Barcelona, and Barcelona is the other team. I would say winning La Liga might be the other best team in the world. But anyway, do you think that these are the two best teams in the world that are playing?
I do think so. I think Arsenal is by far the best defensive team in the world and has some stellar attacking players, although they don't always set up tactically to use them. And I think PSG flat out has the best attacking players in the world. They have Ousmane Dembele, who won the Ballon d'Or last year and is looking to put another one in his cabinet. They've got incredible players up front, Kvaratskhelia and Desiree Doué, incredible on the wings. They're the best attacking team in world football, and they have a great defense as well. I do think these are the best two teams. I think PSG might have the slight edge as for better team overall, but I do think these are the best two teams. Now, I will say Arsenal sets up tactically different in the Premier League than they have in the Champions League all season. Premier League, they do play a little bit further back, a little bit more afraid to lose, as we've been talking about. But Champions League, I do say they are going out to win that game a lot more. We saw in the league stages against Bayern a 3-1 win, where I don't think we would have expected that, looking at this Bayern team in the semifinal against PSG. So they've done it against these very high-powered attacking teams where they've kind of shut them down. I mean, Bayern still scored a goal, and it's one of the 6 allowed all season for Arsenal in the Champions League.
6 in the Champions League?
I believe it's
6 goals?
Single digits.
Wow. That is incredible. Yeah, there's no doubt they deserve to be here.
So I think they are the best top 2 teams in the world. I think Arsenal are going to set up in a more defensive style, but I don't think it's going to be that low block 4-4-2, all 10 guys in the box type look.
If it's 90 minutes of a 5-4-1 and we end up going to extra time and then penalties because Arsenal don't come out and play, I'm going to turn it off in the middle because I'm not watching that. I'd rather see two teams come out and play, and I do think Arsenal's good enough in the attack that they can do it. But will they? It remains to be seen. Will you be watching? I'm guessing you'll be sat there at noon on Saturday the 30th, wearing that very jersey, and or maybe you'll be at a bar. What do you think?
I'll be probably at a pub in London, actually.
What?
Yeah. So
oh my! You're gonna be in London.
I'm gonna be
Champions League final.
I'm going. I've been planning this trip. If had we ever won the league, I would have been going on a parade trip with my best friend from back home. We've been planning this for years, but yeah, so I'm going to get on a plane
Friday.
Friday.
Were you already planning to go before they won? Or is this like now that they've won and now that they're in the Champions League final, I'm going?
Now that they won. The whole point of the trip was to go to an Arsenal league-winning parade.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
So I've had the flight tracking on my email and hotel tracking for a couple weeks now, and very nervous to get it going, but yeah, very excited to go.
That's
so I'll be
very cool.
in a London pub
of a better place to watch
on Saturday.
I guess you'll be in North London then, right?
Yep, North London, Islington probably, for the Champions League final, and then Sunday it's already announced they're going to do the parade throughout the city, so I'll be there for that.
On the
Super
31st
excited.
of May, they're going to do the parade? Mm-hmm. So win or lose Champions League, they're doing a parade on the 31st.
Yep.
That is really cool, man. I wish I had known that. I would have led with that. You're going to be at the parade. You will also be able to celebrate potentially the relegation of your bitter rival. That is one of the things that it's like Arsenal fans, they might have made a deal with the devil or something because not only have they already won the league, For those of you who aren't huge English soccer fans, Arsenal and Tottenham are bitter rivals. They are in the same section of the same city. They're both in North London. They hate each other. Tottenham is looking like they're going to be either the fourth to last or the third to last team, and the bottom three teams go down into a league. So imagine if you're in baseball, the worst team in Major League Baseball has to go play in AAA next year. That's what might happen to Tottenham while Arsenal is lifting a trophy, or potentially 2 trophies. That would be incredible. Now that you've won, would you rather have the Champions League trophy, or would you rather have Tottenham relegated?
I'd rather have the Champions League trophy.
Yeah, good choice.
I mean, that's going to last a lot longer. Tottenham are going to yo-yo back up into the Premier League by the end of next season anyways. It'll be short-lived fun. It'll be a lot of fun if they do get relegated, but that Champions League trophy is going to live in the cabinet forever.
All right, I want to talk about something else in English soccer, and this is going to take a minute to explain. I mentioned AAA. The league below the Premier League is called the Championship, which is confusing. But the Championship has the 2 best teams in the Championship are going to go up to the Premier League. Because I mentioned earlier, the 3 worst Premier League teams, they go down. Well, the 2 top Championship teams go up. And then to decide which team will go up as well, because 3 teams go down, so 3 teams go up, they have a playoff between the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th place teams. This year, those teams were, in no particular order, Millwall, Hull City, Southampton, and Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough and Southampton were playing each other in a playoff because you had Millwall and Hull City playing each other, and you had Middlesbrough and Southampton playing each other. Southampton, well, first of all, let's just say Hull City beat Millwall. So Hull is in the Championship playoff. They're in. Nothing's changing that. Southampton and Middlesbrough were playing each other, and Middlesbrough found a staffer for Southampton recording their practice. They're calling it Spygate over there. They're not aware that we have a Spygate over here. It is their spying controversy. So what the English FA did, or the board that controls this, the Football Association, what they decided to do is to penalize Southampton by taking them out. Southampton had beaten Middlesbrough, and they were going to play Hull City on Saturday to see who gets promoted to the Premier League. And 72, 96 hours ahead of time, they've been removed from that final. They will now be back in the Championship next year with no recourse, and instead it'll be Hull City playing Middlesbrough, and it is all because of somebody from Southampton spying on the practices, on the training sessions of somebody from Middlesbrough. And this is really extraordinary because I don't remember, I've not seen it happen very often where a result is erased. You've had teams get penalties. The New England Patriots for Deflategate, for Spygate, what have you. I believe they lost the first-round draft pick, which is a pretty heavy scenario. But whatever they won in the season prior where they were doing the spying, they lost nothing. This result has been overturned. And not just one result. The teams have to play 2 legs, and then the score after the 2 legs of the games is the full score. So 2 games were overturned. Now you have Middlesbrough playing Hull City to get into the Premier League. One of them is going up. Southampton is done. So I know that's very complicated. I hope you've stuck with us. Because, Zach, I want to ask you what you think about this. Because I find this to be, when I read the news today, I had to read it twice. Because I really expected some sort of penalty, some sort of fines. Hey, that's a shame for you, Middlesbrough, but even if they're watching your training, like everything happens on the field, it's not like football, American football, where, we know they're going to run this trick play, and then when the trick play comes, well, guess what? Now we have it. This is training. This is tactics. This is, and they were close games. So Middlesbrough still could have won it on the field. So how do you feel about this punishment? It's worthy of being punished, but is this too much?
This is a hefty punishment because I think the biggest wrinkle in this is the game to go up into the Premier League is the most expensive game in all of sports. It's a $200 million game in the way that the winner now is involved in Premier League broadcasting deals, which is almost as lucrative as the NFL broadcasting deal and more lucrative on a year-to-year basis than the NBA broadcasting deal. They get added into this, and it's a $200 million basically lump sum injection into that cash. That's game changing for these clubs. And now, because of it, Southampton is taken out of that game. It's the Southampton, I can't remember if it was their general manager or their president or someone high up in the club was saying it's the most expensive fine and punishment that the English Football Association, the FA, has ever handed out. It's bizarre how detrimental this could be to Southampton as a club.
Do you think they're making an example out of him? Because that's kind of what I think. They're going, the original English football Spygate, Marcelo Bielsa, and I believe it was Frank Lampard's Derby County, like five to 10 years ago. Bielsa and Leeds were spying on Lampard's team, and it wasn't in this situation where it was for the playoff final, but it was a situation, and they were like, we have to have a system for this. Well, now that it's happened again, and also if you remember, we had the Canadians accused of using drone footage against I believe their CONCACAF opponents. But anyway, it looks like the English FA is just like, we're not having this, and try us. And so this is going to send a clear warning shot to everybody that you better not try this, because whatever you think you may gain, it's way, way less than what you're going to lose.
Yeah, I mean, because they could gain all that money had they gone on to win that playoff final. But it is a ton, because normally it is just a point deduction in the current year or the next year. Just horrible timing for Southampton, really, that it's in the biggest game of the season of the past couple seasons for them until the last time they were eligible for promotion.
Yeah, so from a competitive standpoint, from a who do you want to see in the Premier League next year, I actually kind of like it. Southampton was in the Premier League for years and years, and they're kind of a bottom table flirting with relegation team. They finally did go down. They came back up. They were terrible. They went back down. And this year they're going to come back up. And those yo-yo clubs, West Brom used to be one. Leicester did it, although Leicester got relegated to League One this year, which is just incredible. And I like to see kind of new blood. In English football, there is really no new blood because all these teams are so old. But it's been a long time since we've seen Hull City and or Middlesbrough back up in the Premier League. So it's very cool that they're going to come up, one of them. It just does stink that this is the punishment, because it just does seem like overkill. But, I mean, we talked about it. No one's ever going to do this again.
No.
If these are the consequences, it ain't worth it. One more thing. I should have brought this up earlier before we talked about the championship, but Pep Guardiola, he is leaving Manchester City. They are expected to hire Enzo Maresca, who most recently was leading Chelsea and led them to the Club World Cup. And was let go, and I think he was happy to go earlier this season. It looks like they're going to take one bald, bearded European for another bald, bearded European. But, I mean, you're not a Man City fan. I could sit here and talk about how incredible it has been to watch this team play for the last 10 years that Pep's been in charge, all the trophies and everything. But as an opposing fan, what did you think of Pep Guardiola?
The greatest manager of all time. I mean,
I would expect you to say like he's annoying and I hate him, but
no,
it's both.
I don't think he's annoying. I don't hate him as much as he's another competitor that I respect a ton, that has devoted his life to soccer and is the most transformational manager we've seen, at least in my generation, in the way that he's changed the way that so many other managers have played. His tree of managers, I believe Maresca's even in that coaching tree.
They might be. I think the continuity might be something that City's looking for.
Yeah, exactly. And they play a very similar style. When I heard that it was going to be Maresca, I was not happy, because I think he's also a great manager that is just going to continue that line for City. But yeah, I think Pep is just unbelievable. Best manager of all time. He's done it in almost every league at this point, in Spain, in Germany, and in England. Did he win the treble in all three?
Well, yes, I think he did. No, I don't believe he won the Champions League with Bayern. I think he went to the final and they never won it, because there was a thing about he could never do it without Messi. So he won the Champions League with Barcelona and with Messi. He went to Bayern. I know he made the final, but I believe they lost to Barcelona in the final, or they lost to it's slipping my mind right now. But I'm pretty sure they made a final but didn't win it. And now he's gone to City. He did do the treble. He's won the Champions League there. And on his way out the door, oh, by the way, a nice consolation prize to have, City won both domestic tournaments. They won the Carabao Cup and they won the FA Cup. So not a bad haul. There's 4 trophies you can win, unless you count the Community Shield, which most people don't. There's 4 trophies you can win in English football. You can win the league, you can win the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, and if you're lucky enough, you can win the Champions League. And they won 2 this year, so not a bad way to go out. We are going to miss him. He is just a guy that he burns hot, and he's burnt out at Barcelona, he's burnt out at Bayern, and now he's kind of burnt out at Manchester City. I would not be surprised to see him come back and coach Barcelona again, or coach in Italy, somewhere he hasn't coached, where he doesn't have to coach against a team that formerly employed him. But yeah, I'm going to miss him because there was just a level you knew you weren't going to go below with Pep. And when you bring the next guy in, you just don't know.
Yeah, I think for him, I think next step is a national side. I think he'll be a national coach for one of the big European teams. I think with the Euros coming up in a couple of years.
Well, hey, Team USA is going to have an opening. We know
That's probably true.
Get back to coaching back in Europe and probably in England, so he can come on over and we'll see you in Saudi Arabia in 2030 or wherever. Isn't that where the World Cup is in 2030?
I have no idea where it is in 2030.
No, that might be 2030.
Is it Spain?
No, it's the weird one where they're doing it like half, and they're going to do like some games in South America and like some games in Africa or something.
Okay.
Or some games it's weird. But we'll worry about that in 2030. For now, this has been your Hometown Sports Huddle here on WDBJ 7+. We're here every weekday at 6:30. We thank you for joining us, and we will see you the next time that it is a weekday at 6:30.